Happy Glacier Science Day! It's Ranger Melissa! I'm back for another episode of our Glacier Science video series. I'm standing in front of Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks doors in Kalispell, Montana, because I'm going to meet up with Glacier's wildlife biologist and citizen science coordinator Jamie Belt and Chris Hammond, who is a wildlife biologist at the state here for FWP, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks. And they're going to tell me all about a project they're collaborating on with Common Loons. They're banding Common Loons in order to understand and track their populations better. I'm really excited to learn more about it today, and I'm here catching them while they're loading up gear in order to go out at night to band loons. Now, I'm not able to go with them because there's only a certain amount of space on the boat, but our videographer, Renata, is gonna go behind the scenes and show you all what they're gonna do and how they do it. So, let's meet up with Jamie and Chris and find out more. Come on, let's go!
Melissa walks up to Jamie, a woman dressed in a Park Service uniform.
Jamie, oh my gosh, I actually have not seen you for a really long time.
Yeah,
it's good to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for catching up with us for Glacier Science Day. We are so excited that Renata gets to go with you guys to do loon banding.
Clip from the field of Jamie using pliers to fit a metal band around a loon's leg.
For the rest of the folks out there who might not exactly know, can you explain what is bird banding, or what is it?
So bird banding is a way to individually mark birds. It can occur in a handful of different ways, but for birds that you are not planning to recapture on a regular basis, you use a visual marker, so something that you can see from a distance.
As Jamie talks, several images and video clips are shown of loons in the wild, including a photograph of a loon with visible leg bands, a clip of a loon displaying its wings, and several clips of 2 adult loons feeding their young chick.
Banding allows us to look at survival, turnover of territories, dispersal, so knowing where our young loons are going to find their own lake.
Okay.
To breed. We are in a state where common loons are considered a species of special concern. The reason for that is that while their population numbers appear to be remaining somewhat steady, they're at a level where it requires constant management to make sure that they persist and that their habitat is protected so that they can successfully breed. So we have about 60 to 70 pairs of loons across the entire state.
Oh, in the state of Montana.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
And then in Glacier, we have about 16 to 17 pairs on average each year that are breeding pairs, we think, and about 6 up to 8 chicks per year.
That's it. Oh, 6 to 8 chicks.
So
in
1
Glacier.
million acre national park, heavily protected, and we're counting on each of those 6 chicks to persist and carry the population forward.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, for a tiny little chick.
Yeah. There's a collaboration going on between Glacier National Park and the state of Montana, so I'm guessing that's why we're at Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks today.
Yeah, so we are all part of the Common Loon working group. So the state, both DNRC and Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks are part of that. The Forest Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Some nonprofit organizations, the tribes. And the goal of that is to look at the whole population. So we really can't say very much about the population of Glacier just by itself because it's connected.
Clip from the field of Jamie using binoculars to scan a lake.
And we're gonna meet up with Chris Hammond, who kind of was one of the people who instigated that plan and has been working on this for many years. Is that right?
That's right.
Awesome. So, and he's out loading, he's putting your equipment in the truck, right, that you're going to use tonight for banding. So I'm excited to talk to Chris and learn more about the history of this and what the state is doing, their overall picture to save common loons.
A bearded man carries canoe paddles from a large garage to the back of a truck. As he looks for more equipment, Melissa approaches him.
Hey Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for meeting up with us today. We're so excited to talk about Common Loons with you. I know that you work with the park and that you've been working on Common Loons for a while. How many years has it been?
Well, that gives away my age, but I
Sorry.
probably have been 20 years with
20
Common
years.
Loons.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, just in Northwest Montana.
Just in Northwest Montana.
We see a still photo of a younger-looking Chris standing next to a canoe on the edge of a lake. As Chris and Melissa talk, we see clips of an adult loon in black and white breeding plumage, followed by a clip of an adult loon with its juvenile chick who is mostly brown.
I mean, Common Loons are one of the coolest birds I know of, and again, I'm probably slightly biased, but they're a very large bird, and they're very specialized for the environments that they live in. And so they are a water bird, and so really the only time you see this bird on land is when they're nesting. And so they live a very long time, and so they can live over 30 years.
Wow, 30
of age.
years.
Yeah, so it's not like a mallard or a goose that live for a much shorter time and have a lot of goslings or ducklings. These birds actually have 1 to 2 chicks per year.
And that's it.
That's it.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And by doing the work that Jamie talked about the banding.
As Chris talks about banding, we see several clips of researchers working by headlamp at night to capture and put bands on loons.
What we learn from a lot of that information is the survival of adults and the survival of chicks. And so, you find out different things. And so, like, we find that survival for our adult loons is about 5 to 7% actually lower than elsewhere. And so those things help us adjust what we do for management.
Okay.
And so we can do things and tweak things by having this type of information.
Melissa gestures to painted loon decoys on the garage floor. As Chris explains how capturing works, we see clips of researchers in a canoe at night using a spotlight to find loons on a lake, and then a shot of the large nets used to scoop loons out of the water.
What is this for anyway, by this little fake loon here?
So this loon decoy and the chick decoy are actually used for diurnal trapping, is what we use it for mostly.
In the day.
Yes, in the day. And then what this does is loons are very territorial. And so if you put this bird in the water with a chick or just the bird with a decoy and play calls, they'll actually approach it very quickly and come after the decoy.
Wow. And you've seen that?
Oh, I've seen it, yes.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. That would be neat to see. But at night you wouldn't use that because they can't see it.
No, at night though, we work based off of the whole territorial nature of these birds. And so we use different methods to catch them at that point. We actually use a spotlight and we can play calls that mimic the other loons. And the territorial bird will actually approach the light at that point where you can use one of the nets like we loaded in the truck and actually dip it and catch it.
No way. So you're taking one of those nets and just, wow.
Yeah.
And Renata's maybe going to see this when she goes out with him?
Yeah, depending on Jamie's skills.
I know she'll do well. Thanks everyone for joining us. Jamie, Chris, have a great night and stay tuned, folks. See what happens tonight at loon banding. All right, thanks everybody.
3 researchers, Jamie, Chris, and Carl, look at gear spread out on the ground in front of their trucks. Jamie picks up a heavy car battery.
Oh, yeah.
Chris and Carl hoist the battery into a backpack. Chris laces up his boots.
All set?
Ready.
Jamie and Chris hoist the canoe over their heads and start hiking down a trail. Another assistant hikes carrying an electric propeller and canoe paddles strapped to the outside of her backpack. The loon banding team waits quietly by the shore of a small lake. It's evening and dusk is falling. A man scans the lake with binoculars, and a young woman covers herself with her coat as she lays down in the canoe that's pulled up on the lake shore. As evening falls, a family of 2 adult loons with 2 small chicks swim by. Now it is completely dark. Light from headlamps illuminates the canoe being pushed out onto the lake. Looking out across the lake, we see the beam of a handheld spotlight sweeping the shoreline. The spotlight sweeps the surface of the water and briefly shines towards the camera, catching the spectators on the shore in a bright flash of light. The spotlight beam reveals a loon floating about 20 feet from the canoe. The canoe approaches it very slowly. The canoe returns to shore, and we see that Chris, seated in the middle of the canoe, is holding something in his lap. Jamie steps out of the canoe and prepares to transfer the loon from his lap to her arms.
Carl, you want to come in and grab the head? Yep.
Jamie and Carl carry the loon carefully to shore. Its head is wrapped in a white towel. They transfer the loon to the lap of an assistant sitting on the truck bed. Chris shows him how to hold the loon.
Yep, and take your left arm and go up and over the bird.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to tuck you in.
Okay.
Okay.
Jamie prepares to put a metal band on the bird's leg. Using her headlamp, she reads the numbers off the band. Carl notes the numbers down on a clipboard.
No, I didn't look at the number, sorry.
You ready? 0669
0669
205
205
2, 3.
2, 3.
Jamie carefully extends the loon's black and white speckled wing to pluck several feathers, which she hands to Chris. We hear the camera person's voice asking, "What do you take the feathers for?"
So feathers give you the mercury level of the bird when that feather was grown. This bird grew in his breeding plumage on the wintering grounds, and it gives you more of a long-term mercury burden. And then we do blood as well, so that's more short-term. So the blood mercury is in about the last 2 weeks, I think it is.
Jamie draws blood from the loon with a syringe. Then she uses calipers to measure its sharp black bill, which pokes out from under the towel covering its head. Jamie hangs the bird in a mesh bag from a portable scale and reads the weight. Carl notes it down.
5,100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5,100.
Wading out into the water, the researchers gently release the loon. For the first time, we see its head uncovered. The loon stays still for a moment, floating, then swims out into the darkness.